Before you watch this video, make sure you're already caught up with part 1 of this video series by clicking the link in the corner of the screen or at the top of the description. Did you know? Perhaps the most absurd Zelda rumor ever spread around a year before Twilight Princess's release. In August 2005, IMDb was updated to include several celebrities in the game's credits as voice actors. This included rapper 50 Cent as Epona, fitness instructor Richard Simmons as Tingle, and Reggie Fils-Aimé as The Man. Back in 2005, IMDb was seen as a very credible source of information. Because of this, many websites took the updated face value and reported on it, despite it being entirely false. The earliest rumors about Twilight Princess began in 2003, when claims of a cel-shaded Wind Waker sequel were reported by several gaming outlets. From this point onwards, 2 competing rumors spread. One set of rumors said the game would be cel-shaded, seemingly based on Miyamoto's comments about the next Zelda using similar graphics to Wind Waker. The other claimed any new Zelda game would take on a more realistic look, spurred on by Link's inclusion in the GameCube release of Soul Calibur 2. When Twilight Princess was first shown at E3 2004, the rumors of a cel-shaded sequel were put to rest. In July 2004, another round of rumors claimed that Twilight Princess was planned to release in summer 2005 in Japan, and everywhere else at the end of the year. The rumors also claimed Link wouldn't fight Ganon this time around, but an evil army called the Horde. They also alleged the game would be called either A Link to the Darkness or Legacy of Link. None of these rumors were true, and seemed to be guesses based on what Nintendo had shown at E3. Nintendo did originally plan to release the game in 2005, but ended up delaying it to 2006 so they could fine-tune the game and create the Wii version. Later, in April 2005, Electronic Gaming Monthly revealed that anyone who pre-ordered Twilight Princess would get a special pre-order bonus. Supposedly, the bonus included an entirely new version of the Wind Waker, featuring 2 dungeons that had been cut from the original game, and a complete graphics overhaul to match Twilight Princess. This, of course, was fake, and was one of EGM's infamous April Fool's pranks. In the run-up to Twilight Princess's release, IGN claimed that Hyrule took around 45 minutes to cross on horseback. Some fans misunderstood this claim, which spawned a new rumor that just Hyrule Field took 45 minutes to cross. However, both these claims were inaccurate. Hyrule itself takes about 5 minutes to cross on horseback, and Hyrule Field takes just 3 minutes. After the game's launch, a rumor claimed that beating the Wii version of Twilight Princess and watching the credits would put a Link Me in the console's Mii parade. This rumor was featured on many gaming cheat and tips websites, and is even on Games Radar's Twilight Princess cheats page to this day. The rumor, however, is false. Fans once again looked back at print and online media and noticed some parts of Twilight Princess changed since it was first shown. They saw several differences to the final game, such as how it lacked the magic meter, moblins, and an entire forest area from the game's reveal trailer. This area, which became known as the Beta Forest, was a fairly open wooded area that resembled the Beta Forest cut from Ocarina of Time. Naturally, fans wondered if this area was hidden somewhere in the game, which led to rumors. Many claimed the forest was still in the game, with various reports saying it was in the game and fully functioning, with others claiming only relics of it were still there. Several videos were published online to back up these claims. Some were highly speculative and lacked an understanding of game development, and others were entirely fake. Another area that fans tried to reach was the inside of Fado's home. For the entirety of the game, Fado's door is locked. This led to rumors about a hidden way to unlock the door, and that there'd be a special reward inside. Fans ultimately found a way to glitch through the walls and get inside, but inside there was only empty black space. In March 2007, Nintendo World Report interviewed the game's director Eiji Aonuma and asked him about Fado's house. Aonuma explained that modeling and programming the inside of the home would have taken up precious development time, so they decided to make the door permanently locked to save time. Throughout the mid to late 2000s, there were an entire series of rumors and hoaxes trying to pass off fake Zelda titles as the real deal. In October 2005, an eBay listing popped up for a Zelda 3 NES prototype cartridge. The cartridge looked fairly convincing and had the title The Legend of Zelda: The Triforce Saga. The cartridge's owner, Richard Vialou, originally denied requests to test the game, saying he was too busy. Naturally, this brought the cartridge's authenticity into question, so Vialou eventually posted an image of the game's title screen. When the auction ended, the prototype's final bid settled at around $3,000 by someone named Night7. Vialou told now-defunct gaming site Joystick.com that he believed Night7 was connected to game developer Silicon Knights. However, Joystick were contacted by President of Silicon Knights Dennis Dyack, who denied any connection to the auction. After the whole ordeal, Zelda fan site The Hylia scrutinized the prototype and noted several issues. The biggest issue was the time the cartridge was set to be made. Although Nintendo began designing Zelda 3 in 1988, the game itself was always planned to be a Super Nintendo game, not an NES game. As you might expect, the cartridge was shown to be a hoax. Less than a year later, in June 2006, another Zelda 3 eBay listing popped up, this time being a Super Nintendo cart. The game was bundled with other allegedly early versions of games like Star Fox and Earthbound, but this too is generally regarded as a hoax. In 2005, VGMaps.com posted an overworld map of Koholint Island, claiming it was from a special Game Boy Advance version of Link's Awakening. The title was apparently a pre-order bonus for The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. The site claimed the GBA version had new challenges, such as figurines to collect, and a new dungeon that showcased the GBA's abilities. However, this was an elaborate April Fool's joke. VG Maps contributors John Leung and Ozravad remapped Koholint Island entirely using background tiles and sprites from A Link to the Past. A year later, in 2006, another Zelda game was rumored to be in development. After an initial statement from Nintendo that a Tingle RPG was in the works, the now-defunct website BUG Game revealed that The Legend of Zelda Tingle Returns was being made. The site posted a screenshot of the game, but this was clearly a manipulated screenshot of Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Final Destination stage. Despite the image being easily proven fake and having a 2009 copyright on it despite the year being 2006, some fell for the image and spread it online. It ultimately became clear the entire ordeal was another April Fool's joke. The Tingle RPG announced by Nintendo was later released as freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. In 2008, VG Maps once again claimed to have background art from an obscure Zelda game. The site showed assets from The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Hours. This name was often linked to the unreleased Zelda title Mystical Seed of Courage, which was the third game in the Oracle's collection. The game would have released alongside Oracle of Ages and Seasons for Game Boy Color, but was cancelled due to technical difficulties connecting the three games. According to VG Maps, Oracle of Hours saw Link meeting the Oracle of Hours, Furore. She's responsible for the movement of the sun and moon, but the evil entity Prudel captures her, threatening to cause an eclipse that would awaken their evil energies. Just as Oracle of Ages and Seasons had different times and seasons to jump between, Oracle of Hours would jump between day and night. As you probably guessed, this was another April Fool's joke from the site. Again, in June 2008, a supposed leaked interview between Zelda series producer Eiji Aonuma and a journalist named Kyle was posted on several message boards, including 4chan, GameFAQs, and the IGN forums. This interview detailed the next Zelda game coming to the Wii, said to be The Legend of Zelda Valley of the Flood or Project Deluge. The game was apparently a prequel to Wind Waker and was to be set in a dark steampunk-inspired world. The game's story would center around a young boy who takes up the mantle of the hero of time, despite not being the true hero himself. The boy would need to save Hyrule from being destroyed by a flood, ultimately leading into the events of Wind Waker. An image also surfaced around this time showing steampunk visuals and a professional-looking logo. This added some legitimacy to the rumors, that is, until the source of the artwork was found. The original image can be found on DeviantArt and was posted in 2004. Although the rumor turned out to be false, it continued to gain popularity due to its interesting premise, and Nintendo having already teased the next mainline Zelda title a few months earlier. In April 2008, IGN released a trailer for an upcoming The Legend of Zelda film. The video seemed to come out of nowhere and appeared to be fairly well made. This is why many fans were surprised when a day later IGN announced the trailer was an April Fool's prank. The trailer was made in collaboration with Rainfall Films, who went on to make other impressive fan films such as Metroid: The Sky Calls. A few smaller hoaxes were published in the following years. In April 2009, Hyrule.net posted news about a Wii Zelda game that connected to Spirit Tracks' plot. In this game, the player would save Hyrule by sending top-secret letters to the future so future citizens could protect themselves. Past Link would send letters into the future for future Link to deliver. The site also released some unconvincing art to go along with the post. In April 2010, the now-deleted website Zelda in My Pocket claimed to have footage of a trailer for the upcoming Zelda game on the Wii. However, the video was of an old fan film that used footage from something else. Only a month later, Zelda in My Pocket claimed to have information on a new Tingle game from Vanpool, who made the Tingle RPGs on the DS. After several posts that gave little information, the site's owner admitted everything was a publicity stunt. The game they were referring to wasn't going to be made by Vanpool, but themselves, and was a fan game that focused on the side character Kakashi. Between 2008 and 2012, there were an entire series of rumors that claimed Retro Studios were working on a Zelda title. The first was in January 2008 and alleged that a retro-made Zelda game was to be announced at E3 of the same year. However, E3 came and went with no mention of the Retro Studios Zelda project. A year later, in May 2009, the panel on IGN Nintendo's Nintendo Voice Chat podcast seemed to back up the rumor. The team stated that Retro were originally working on a Zelda project but no longer are, and almost posted the rumor themselves a year earlier. The project was apparently going to be something big, but for one reason or another, development on the title stopped. In December 2011, rumors linking Retro to Zelda popped up again thanks to a Miyamoto interview with Wired.com. In the interview, Wired brought up Nintendo EAD's collaboration with Retro on Mario Kart 7 and asked if Miyamoto would do a similar collab with a Mario platformer or Zelda game. Miyamoto finished his response by saying, "As you know, we've already collaborated with Retro for the Metroid Prime series in the past, and I think when we talk about any other franchise, Zelda might be a possible franchise for that collaboration." A month later in January 2012, users over at NeoGAF found information posted by newly hired artists at Retro Studios. One of the artists was Eric Kozlowski, who stated on their personal blog, "I'm going to work on another project that I'm super excited about. I can't talk about it too much, but if all goes well, it might just be one of my crowning achievements as an artist." Users from the message board assumed this crowning achievement was work related to Retro, and possibly Zelda. They then tried to contact Eric on Twitter, who said his crowning achievement statement was referring to illustrations for his brother's book. Some users didn't take this as an answer, however, and pestered Eric so much that he deleted his Twitter account. Another month later in February 2012, Retro were supposedly looking for FX artists and 3D environment artists with experience making hand-painted textures. This led to speculation that Retro were working on a sequel to Skyward Sword, which had released a year before. No further information was released about the rumor, and the possibility of Retro working on Zelda was seemingly squashed later that year. In October 2012, Miyamoto did another interview, this time with Game Reactor's Spanish division. In the interview, Miyamoto was asked about Retro working on a Zelda game, and replied by saying that Retro wouldn't be a suitable fit for collaborating on Zelda. After Skyward Sword art was first shown, but before the game's title and story details were officially announced, speculation ran rampant about the game. In January 2010, a list of supposedly leaked details about the project was posted on the Japanese forum 2chan. According to the leak, Zelda Wii wouldn't continue the cycle of dungeon and overworld exploration that had become the standard for Zelda games. Players would also be given the option to choose if Link would be left or right-handed, and new abilities unlocked as Link's sword increased in power. Horseback combat was said to appear often, and the player's horse would have improved AI to better avoid obstacles. The female character shown in the game's first pre-release would apparently be named Adele, and would communicate with Link through his sword. The game's plot was said to involve time travel and take place either partially or completely outside of Hyrule, and the version of Link in the game would be the same one from Ocarina of Time, making Zelda Wii something of a sequel to Majora's Mask. In June 2010, just days before Nintendo's E3 conference, another leak appeared on German Zelda message boards. This supposed leak came from someone claiming to be the friend of a German-language instructor working with Eiji Aonuma. They claimed that Zelda Wii's official title would simply be The Legend of Zelda, and would tell a story set hundreds of years before Ocarina of Time about the creation of the Master Sword. The leaker also said the name of the female character was Zordiana, and that motion controls would be used often throughout the game, such as for drawing symbols on doors in order to open them. The bow and arrow would also be controlled in a similar method as the archery event from Wii Sports Resort. The hookshot would return as an item, but this time it could be used to swing across gaps. The game would include 2 difficulty settings, a normal mode for casual players and a hero mode for skilled players. There would also be dungeons with no bosses inside. Lastly, the leaker claimed the game's E3 demo would feature an ice-themed dungeon, which would be the first dungeon in the game. Another set of rumors were spread in June 2011. The rumors alleged that Skyward Sword was nearly complete. They also claimed that the girl's name would be Dorella, the magician shown was called Nefibero, and was part of an evil group of sources trying to get the Triforce. Ganondorf would also be in the game as a child, and Zelda would have brown hair. The game would have a fully orchestrated soundtrack and 2 overworlds which would contrast like heaven and hell. There was apparently post-game content that never ended with new dungeons, and would release November 1st of that year. While these leaks correctly predicted some details, they were largely proven false. The female character in the first piece of artwork was named Fi, the magician was named Girahim, horseback riding wasn't in the game, and many other details about the game's dungeons and story were shown to be incorrect. A trailer for Skyward Sword was released at GDC in March 2011, and fans spotted a few frames in the video that appeared to show the silhouette of Skull Kid. While there was a resemblance to the character, this turned out to be one of the game's redesigned Skulltula enemies. In late 2011, the next major game in the Zelda series was confirmed for the Nintendo 3DS. IGN editor Sam Claiborne stated Nintendo was working on 2 new Zelda games. In January 2012, an image surfaced on 4chan showing new Japanese logos for 2 games called The Legend of Zelda Fire Prophecy and Ice Prophecy. Building on Claiborne's statement, the image implied the new Zelda project would be comprised of 2 different games, similar to Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy Color. However, in early 2013, the new project was revealed as a sequel to The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, proving the rumors to be false. In June 2013, a new set of rumors emerged about the game. It would apparently be set during a time of rebuilding after the events of A Link to the Past and would feature a brand new villain. There would be at least 6 dungeons, and the Dark World would return, although altered somewhat by the events of A Link to the Past. There would also be some kind of multiplayer functionality. While some details of the leak were accurate, much of it was shown to be incorrect by the official reveal of the game. In the run-up to E3 2012, a supposed leaked list of Wii U games was published online. The list reported several new games coming to the platform, including The Legend of Zelda HD TRIPACK, which featured Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and 4 Swords Adventures in HD. Although this rumor somewhat predicted Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD's releases, it seemed to be a lucky guess from a Nintendo fan. Not only did 4 Swords not come to Wii U, but several other titles on the list such as Final Fantasy Racing never came to be. Rumors about a new Zelda title for the Wii U were also common around this time. In 2013, the German video news site Polygamia posted an article covering details of a new Zelda game, allegedly shown by Aonuma during a visit to Nintendo. Titled The Legend of Zelda: Book of Hyrule, the game was said to take place in a modern world starring a child Link without his trademark pointed ears as he attended school and visited the library. The article mentioned features like using an in-game smartphone to take screenshots, contact NPCs, or leave messages in the world for other players to find. In August of that same year, Polygamia updated the article stating the entire story was a fabrication. It was only written to spark conversation in the Zelda community. In May 2014, rumors of a new Zelda game for Wii U emerged once again. Firstly, a list of games allegedly to be shown at E3 was shown. The list showed Nintendo's offerings for the year, which included The Legend of Zelda: Shard of Nightmare. Shortly after, a logo for the game surfaced, along with a screenshot of Link holding a torch. As you probably expect by now, the game was entirely fake, and the art for the fake screenshot came from DeviantArt. In 2015, attendees of the Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses concert in Germany had an odd encounter. After checking their street pass, they had connected with someone who'd been playing The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess 3D. As it turned out, the person supposedly playing the game had modified their 3DS and edited their street pass information to show the non-existent game. Unfortunately for anyone that tried to access the fake Twilight Princess 3D eShop page, their accounts would be banned from Nintendo's online services. For several years starting in early 2015, rumors of a Zelda Netflix show spread. In February 2015, the Wall Street Journal reported that Netflix were working with Nintendo to make a live-action series. They also reported that Netflix was looking for writers, and that the show was in its early stages of development. Some doubted the claims, however, as the journal's source was anonymous. A month later, Time magazine asked then-president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, about the reports. Iwata denied any live-action Zelda was in development with Netflix, saying, "As of now, I have nothing new to share with you in regard to the use of our IPs for any TV shows or films, but I can at least confirm that the article in question is not based on correct information." Although this seemed to squash any hope of a Netflix show, the rumors resurfaced in 2018. In October that year, Adi Shankar, who produced the Castlevania Netflix show, made a post to his Instagram. The post said he was working with an iconic Japanese gaming company to adapt their franchise into his show. He then stated that he'd reveal which game the show is based on in November. Website The Warp claimed to know what the show was and that it was based on Zelda. However, when asked about the rumor, a Nintendo spokesperson stated, "We have nothing to announce on this topic." Rumors ran rampant until November 16th, when Shankar revealed he was making a show about Devil May Cry. At E3 2011, Nintendo showed off the Zelda HD Experience tech demo to demonstrate the graphical capabilities of the Wii U. This was the first time fans had seen Zelda in HD, and although the HD experience was only a demo, it led to some speculation about Zelda on Wii U. Later in 2011, Nintendo confirmed they were working on a new mainline Zelda for the system that had nothing to do with the HD experience. A large batch of rumors about the game began circulating in September 2012. Wii U Daily reported on info from an anonymous source, a source that previously broke accurate news of Nintendo working on the social network Miiverse. The report said that Zelda U was set for release in 2014 and that Nintendo had been working on the game since 2010. The rumor stated the game's development team was the biggest Nintendo had ever assembled, comparable to Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto team. Appropriately, the rumor claimed it was also the most expensive game Nintendo had made to date. The game supposedly had dungeons so big they were broken into 3 parts and took hours to complete. Players would use the gamepad to navigate and avoid traps, as well as follow clues. The game was said to have features like Miiverse and an online system where players can leave hints for each other. The game was said to reuse the art style from Skyward Sword, but that Nintendo were using a state-of-the-art engine built from the ground up. The title was also said to showcase things not possible on any other console. In December 2012, another anonymous source claimed to have insider info and released their own set of rumors. They claimed Zelda U would be shown at E3 2013, and although it wouldn't be released until 2014, the game would have a downloadable demo in late 2013. They too claimed the game's art style would mimic Skyward Sword's. The game's developers were apparently weighing the pros and cons of using full voice acting and whether Link should speak. The rumor also claimed that Nintendo's team in Japan wasn't expecting the romance between Link and Zelda in Skyward Sword to be as well received as it was, especially by Westerners. Because of this, they expanded on the relationship in Zelda U and looked to Nintendo of America for help. The Westerners at NOA were apparently looking to romance novels like Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey for research. Although some of these early rumors were correct, they were generally inaccurate. The game didn't have massive dungeons or Skyward Sword's art style, and didn't focus on romance. It also wasn't shown at E3 2013 at all, which led to fans asking more questions and even more rumors popping up. In July 2013, rumors emerged that Zelda U would be using the HD Experience graphics engine. These rumors also claimed the game was a direct sequel to Twilight Princess, and it'd have an open world on a similar scale to Skyrim. The game was set to build on the controls of Twilight Princess's GameCube release, and that there'd be heavy use of the gamepad. These rumors also alleged that there'd be 10 dungeons, and players could do the first 5 in any order, and then the second 5 in any order. Solving puzzles in one dungeon would affect puzzles in other dungeons, and Twilight Princess art director Satoru Takizawa was set to be directing the title. The game was set to have an online co-op similar to Four Swords, and this multiplayer mode would have paid DLC. All NPCs would apparently be voice-acted in the fictional Hylian language. This set of rumors in particular was highly inaccurate. In September 2014, a rumor emerged stating development of Zelda U had barely begun and that its plot was non-existent yet. The only setup was that dormant ancient machinery had come back to life and started causing problems. A river that runs through Link and Zelda's village had become tainted, making the water undrinkable and the crops weak. Instead of the usual sword and 3 items loadout, players had 1 item slot but could switch between items, even in combat. Each time the player hit an enemy, they filled a momentum bar. When filled, players could slow down time to perform precise hits. The game would have a crafting system, and Zelda would follow Link around, similar to games like Ico. The vast majority of these Zelda U rumors were disproven when the game was first shown in June 2014. When the game was shown, players noticed its incarnation of Link looked even more effeminate than usual, and wondered if this Link might be female. Later in April 2016, industry insider Emily Rogers reported on several rumors about Zelda U. Rogers had previously revealed that a Paper Mario game was coming to the Wii U, which turned out to be accurate. Rogers said players could choose between a male or female Link in Zelda U. Even though Nintendo initially debunked claims from earlier rumors, a female version of Link named Linkle was added to Hyrule Warriors. This opened up the possibility for a female Link in Zelda U once again. Rogers also claimed that Zelda U would have voice acting, but Link would remain mute. However, in June E3 2016, Nintendo reconfirmed that no female Link would appear in the game. The game's producer, Eiji Aonuma, told GameSpot, "We thought about it and decided that if we're going to have a female protagonist, it's simpler to have Princess Zelda as the main character. If we have Princess Zelda as the main character who fights, then what is Link gonna do?" A few months before Breath of the Wild's release, a rumor popped up on a blog claiming the Wii U version had been cancelled. The cancellation was apparently linked to performance issues, as shown in a supposedly leaked document in the blog post. The rumor alleged that pre-orders for the Wii U version had been cancelled and that the pre-order page at Amazon Japan had been removed. However, this was a complete lie, purposely set up by a troll. The original rumor blog post was later replaced with a GIF that mocked the journalists who reported on it. At the start of January 2018, several video game news outlets reported Nintendo had contacted them to use review quotes for A Link Between Worlds. Companies usually ask to quote reviews when they're publishing a product for advertisements or to put review quotes on the box. This caused speculation that the game might be ported to the Nintendo Switch. Some pointed out that Nintendo may be republishing the game for 3DS under the Nintendo Selects banner, but A Link Between Worlds had hit Nintendo Selects in Europe over 2 years earlier. Some thought it was strange Nintendo would bother adding it to Selects in America so late in the 3DS's lifespan. However, later in the month, Nintendo confirmed the game would be re-released as part of the Nintendo Selects line in North America. Again in January 2018, a rumor claimed that a remake of Link's Awakening was in development by GREZZO, who'd previously worked on Zelda 3DS remakes. The game was apparently a spiritual successor to Link's Awakening, similar to how A Link Between Worlds was a successor to A Link to the Past. The game was also said to take inspiration from Breath of the Wild. Although this game never came to be, it did turn out that GREZZO was working on a Link's Awakening remake for the Switch, so there may have been some truth to the rumor. Later in 2018, there were rumors of the Zelda franchise crossing over with LEGO. In August, a list of games were supposedly found on the back end of the eShop by a hacker and posted to 4chan. Among the list was LEGO The Legend of Zelda, presumably a LEGO series game that borrowed the Zelda property. Many dismissed the rumor outright, as the list was very optimistic, and some titles had bizarre names Nintendo would never use. A few weeks later, however, Kevin Hinkle, former community manager for LEGO in the Americas, made a tweet that acknowledged the rumors. Although this kept the rumors spreading, there has since been no announcement of a Zelda LEGO title. Rumors emerged after a Zelda concert in Osaka, Japan on November 25, 2018. Series producer Eiji Aonuma was at the concert and spoke on stage with concert MC Yu Shimamura. Several attendees were live blogging the event and transcribed an interaction between the two. Aonuma came on stage and Shimamura said, "I'd like to ask about secrets behind Breath of the Wild." Aonuma responded by saying, "Are you sure you don't want to ask about a Switch version of Skyward Sword?" Fans were unsure if Aonuma's response was a joke or if he was teasing a new game, which led to a slew of rumors about Skyward Sword coming to Switch. Shortly after this was reported on, Eurogamer reached out to a Nintendo spokesperson who told them, "At this time we have no plans to release The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on Nintendo Switch," putting the rumors to rest. Did you also know that many false rumors were spread about Waluigi appearing in both Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine? Or that a prominent games industry leaker was tricked into releasing fake information about Smash Bros. Ultimate? Check out the Did You Know Gaming video on Mario rumors and Smash Bros. Rumors for more.